Welcome to the video series on the startup journey. We all admire the success of startups, but behind that lies a lot of hard work, struggles, and sacrifices made by the startup founders. This is especially true for those who are developing solutions for the low and moderate income segment or the Bharat segment. These founders have received support from the Financial Inclusion Lab at CIICO, hosted by the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. To learn more about the Financial Inclusion Lab, check the description box below. Hi Mr. Riaz, we are glad to have you here today. For starters, why don't you give us a brief description of your startup?
Thank you, and this pleasure is mine. It's always a pleasure interacting with MSC. My company's name is Xtracap Fintech India Private Limited. We are in the business of disrupting the informal trade in India. We provide what we call channel financing. We are one of the pioneers there. And our objective is to give growth capital or growth liquidity, to be more precise, to business owners in the MSMEs in a manner that we can actually help them get money when they want, where they want, and how much they want.
So would you say that this was the inflection point, or this is where we realized that we are meant to be an entrepreneur?
Well, to be honest, entrepreneurial spirit was always there in me. I still remember way back when I was just 24, I started my first entrepreneurial venture with a friend of mine. And it was a sales training institute. It was called Sales Institute of Training. Our objective was to train guys in sales. Maybe I was before time. Maybe I did not have enough funding available to me. I was not able to continue that. Again, when I was 34, 35, I attempted to start a gifting company along with my wife, who also is, by the way, a sales professional. And perhaps the temptation of a steady state employment and a steady state job was higher than my ambition to be an entrepreneur. And then finally, at the end of my career, at about 25 years of work experience put in, when I was working for a startup previous to this, I realized that if I could do it again and again for the companies that I worked for the bosses that I worked for, created new models, created new businesses, why couldn't I do it for myself? And this time around, I was lucky to be having investor support, and I raised my first check of investment, and that overcame the financial insecurity which is only there with an entrepreneur. And then decided to start. It was only 5 years into the business today that I realized that I was always meant to be an entrepreneur. Perhaps I should have started this journey much earlier. Perhaps I should have had the grit and the determination to hang in there, which basically was the reason that I was not able to do it in the first 2 rounds. But I guess third round I finally landed home.
I mean, this time you took the jump, and the jump was way too hard, and it was meant for you to be successful this time.
Well, I don't know how to define success. If staying in business for 5 years is defined success, then of course I have been successful. But it's a long way to go. All I can tell you is that we built a good product, we've built a good team, we've got the right kind of investors with us now, and we are at the cusp of our next growth journey. So success is a very complicated thing to define. Well, in terms of mental peace, if one needs to achieve that as an entrepreneur, I've achieved my mental peace. So to that extent, I am successful, and I expect all entrepreneurs who start their own businesses, they first need to achieve their mental peace. Until you don't achieve your mental peace, you will never be able to take the company and your people in the company to the levels that you always wanted to take it.
And also, I would like to ask you, so did this entrepreneurship journey, did it affect your personal life? And if so, what adjustments did you have to make?
I don't think so. It anyway affected my personal life. Perhaps I started my entrepreneurial journey a little late in my life, so I had actually created some amount of financial independence for myself. I had managed to create some amount of assets for myself and my family. Well, this journey wouldn't have been possible had my wife not also been a professional. She is a professional. She heads fundraising for a very large international NGO. So I guess she brought a lot of financial stability to our regular income. However, I did not find that to be a stress area. However, yes, how it disturbed the general flow of life was that earlier you were very sure at the end of the month. This time you are never sure as to how many end of the months will you be able to manage. Because cash is rather limited, and it's not unlimited. No matter how much funding you raise, you always need to have an eye on the cash flows. And in terms of personal life, I guess the quality of life got improved. I was able to work on my terms and conditions, which was a very essential need for me as a person. I wouldn't want to work within the boundaries of others' thoughts. I wanted to work within the freedom of my thinking, and I was able to do that. That actually made me a little more happy. So that actually positively impacted my personal life. I'm not sure about my wife. I guess we need to ask that question to her. But yes, because we were slightly financially stable, taking this decision to plug into entrepreneurship was much more easy.
That's great to hear. So, Riaz, obviously you mentioned that you have tried your hands on entrepreneurship a couple of times, and like you had the team, you managed the team and everything. Was it any different when you tried to set up a team in a startup environment, or how did you manage your team in this kind of an environment?
To be honest, starting a startup and working for an organization are two very different bodies of it. When you work for a very large organizations that I did work for, I did work for a British multinational, I did work for India's largest and one of the pioneer microfinancing company, a very major international brand. The institutional support that is available to you and the name of the brand that is available to you, the unlimited resources that are available to you on the strength of the brands or the company that you work for, their balance sheet, actually do not allow you to worry on things that an entrepreneur normally worries. I guess the biggest challenge has been to create an institutional structure in the organization to attract the right kind of talent. And that challenge initially was pretty significant when I started. I still remember when it came to employing my first employee, I was not at all confident that will I get people from the market to join my company, because nobody knows me. However, as time passed by, as the thoughts and the vision became more and more clearer, as I was able to communicate what we want to do in future, more and more talented people got interested in the idea. So one thing that I am very sure of is that if you know where you're going and if you have a very clear storytelling ability as an entrepreneur, you will be then slowly and gradually able to attract the right kind of talent. Also, my past experience with my previous bosses and the companies that I worked for, I knew what are the things that I should not do, which actually disappoints a colleague, or in this case, an employee that I hire. And I was able to then implement a plan with my colleagues, which was a state of desire that we all wanted to do it together. So today I'm very happy that all of my colleagues who've been with me for the past 5 years have benefited immensely. Just yesterday and today, I was able to give increment letters and promotion letters to all of my colleagues who've been working with me. And this time around, I've been able to give them a jump in the salary, which I couldn't have expected to. That I would have been able to do it as an entrepreneur maybe 6 months back.
I mean, that's commendable. Congratulations to you and your team for that.
thank you very much. But it comes with a lot of patience. It comes with a lot of conviction. It comes with your ability to do things in the right manner, and it comes with respecting people. So something that I have been able to manage is my team of 12 to 14 engineers and the IT guys that I have with me. All of them have been working for me for the past. So most of them have this as their first job or their second job, and none of them have turned back and looked out for a job anywhere else. Because as an entrepreneur, we need to be very sure that each of them on a daily basis believe that what we are doing will create significant impact. And we're seeing that happen.
That's great to hear. So yes, we have already spoken about the financial inclusion lab and the ecosystem it provides. So would you like to explain how do accelerator programs like the financial inclusion lab help a startup, help a founder like you?
Alright, so in my conversation I previously told you that when you start something on your own, you don't have the right kind of institutional support. And that's very, very critical when you build your startup. As an individual, you cannot create an institution. I guess, CIE.co, MSC, and the Financial Inclusion Lab under Bharat Inclusion Initiative, and as an incubation program, has helped us, create that institutional feeling around us. So when my colleagues got to know that we've been selected on the program, the conviction of the team increased. So that's the first step towards building your company, building that institutional institutionalization. Then the next step is that with the kind of experienced people who are there in the program, they helped us articulate our thoughts better, help us articulate our direction better. I still remember a lot of advices that have been given to me during this program. When I actually started implementing them, it actually created a positive impact. And finally, the program brought a complete conviction in me. When I got to know about Iceberg Foundation, when I got to know about the theory at that point in time around flow-based lending, I clearly knew my path and my direction is right. So whatever I had earlier conceptualized that this is how the MSME lending will evolve going forward, my convictions got completely supported by the thoughts and by the advices and by the direction and by the interaction that I got with the incubator and the people.
So Riaz, we have already spoken about the challenges you faced when you started out as an entrepreneur, but if you were to list the top 5 or the top 10 challenges that most of the entrepreneurs have, or that also you went through, and how to overcome them. So it will be really great if you can list some of those.
So it would be a cliche to say something like that each challenge had an opportunity in itself. I wouldn't say that at all. Each challenge had been very daunting. If we wouldn't have, sometimes we were able to overcome the challenges, sometimes we were not able to overcome the challenges. The biggest challenge that one as an entrepreneur faces is uncertainty. Uncertainty in terms of when are you going to get your next funding round, uncertainty in terms of how the product is going to be accepted by the customer, uncertainty around whether you'll be able to keep and pay your team on time. In the last 5 years since I've started my enterprise, not a single day we've delayed salary beyond first of the month. So the biggest challenge has been to me to ensure that on every first, irrespective of what happens, the salary is going to the account. And that creates very, very strong conviction in the team that this company means business. That's the big challenge. The challenge is whatever you commit, you need to deliver. The second challenge has always been that when you don't have institutional support, you actually need to create the institution in yourself as a personality, as a person. You should be able to do all those activities in a manner that people around you generally don't know that you are the one who is doing it. To be very honest with you, very few people in my company know that there is no HR department in my company. I am the HR. There is no finance department in the company. I am the finance. There is no marketing department in the company. I am the marketing guy. But the impression that we create is that all that is being managed. So the challenge is, without burning your resources, you need to create that aura of institutionalization within your organization. As the people in your company believe more, the institutional framework automatically starts panning out. I guess the list of challenges are endless. Further, the challenge was, of course, when a risk event happens, which nobody has ever seen in their lives. So COVID was a challenge of a proportion that was unimaginable for us that time, and had it not been for the conviction of my investors and me, I guess we wouldn't have survived. So the biggest challenge is to build that conviction in people around. Even if you go to your friends and families, taking that check out for your own enterprise from them only comes if they believe in you. And they will only believe in you if you believe in yourself. I guess that's the challenge. A lot of us starts doubting ourselves, and that's the big challenge I think one should be able to overcome. And I can continue talking about challenges for the next 1 hour. I guess these are the broader challenges that you face. The other thing is that challenge that keeps knocking at you is the temptation of going back and doing what you were doing earlier. So I wouldn't be ashamed to tell you guys that there were times when I had doubted. In spite of raising the funding that I had and the money in my bank account, there were times when I felt that why can't I just return this money back to my investor, go find a good job for myself and get out of what I'm trying to do. The biggest challenge is that's when your self-belief comes and kicks in. So, if you don't have money in your bank account, I don't know what to do. So, be sure that it's you who is the biggest challenge. And if you're able to kind of, manage yourself.
So Riaz, thanks for letting us know all the challenges that a founder, may face when they start their own company or they start on the path of entrepreneurship. But beyond these challenges, what was that factor or what was that feeling that motivated or inspired you to to continue and keep growing to ensure that you establish a company at the end of it?
So I guess it's all in the vision. And I have seen in my life in the last 25 years, a lot of ideas that I conceptualized, a lot of projects that I worked in, which were not very preferred projects as far as my other team members are concerned. Those, when worked in the right manner, with the right product proposition, with the right customer experience, with the right process journey, created the industry class opportunities. And it was not once, I have done it 4 or 5 times, again and again, starting it from the scratch and taking it into world class, massive, big, replicated across countries, replicated by the government of India and stuff like that. Some of the initiatives that I took, Mr. Modi talks about it very often. That's those common service centers that he speaks about. So I was completely convinced that if I have my vision clear as to what I want to do, I will reach there. So this time around, when I started my Fintech startup, I was clear that flow-based lending is the way to lend. At that time, there was no word called flow-based lending. In 2016, when I was thinking about that idea. As the time went by, and India is becoming more and more data rich, we know flow-based lending is a reality. We also know that this is the way forward. We also know that there is a public API infrastructure that is coming in place, which is enabling this business. Now, as an entrepreneur, if you are very sure of the vision that you have for your organization, and for the opportunity that you're working in. And if the environment around you is supporting that vision of yours, then truly you will reach there someday or the other. So you should first sell that to yourself and be convinced that this is how it is going to be 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line. Then you should be able to articulate to your team members as to how your vision and how strong that vision is and how it will change the lives of people that we work with, the customers we impact, the way the business happens. And if we are at cusp of that change, we would have arrived. So I clearly believe that as an entrepreneur, what actually drives you again and again is your vision of where you want to be and how you want to be.
So finally, I have that $1 million question for you. What advice would you like to give to someone or maybe a budding entrepreneur who's trying to venture out and start in this sector?
Don't take entrepreneurship as a joke. Not everybody can become an entrepreneur. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Because everybody else is starting a startup doesn't mean that you start something and you will be successful. You know the percentage success that is there in the startup. We actually haven't reached there, and as I say, to all those budding startup entrepreneurs, be sure that you want to give. The next piece of advice that I will give to them is that when you do a startup and that startup is designed as something which is supported by technology, at times I am surprised as to why the investors look at tech so much to enable a product journey. Maybe it is for the scale. Personally, today I don't believe that, but if you were to start a startup of your own, don't and relentlessly spend on building tech. It's not required. Technology is only required when you want to scale the idea. Get your idea right. Get your proof of concept right. I did that mistake. I blew money initially thinking that as a fintech startup, if I don't have the basic paradigm of tech around me, I will not be able to raise funding. And I blew valuable cash because I had cash in my bank, which I regret today. And I would advise all the entrepreneurs to be very careful as to how they will spend their money. And tech is not the way to start. You need to have an idea around it, but your product and your proposition, that has to be very, very strong. That has to be very, very clearly articulated by you, to you and to your team, and then a part to reaching out to the customer, explaining to them, giving them an experience. And all of that can be managed. It necessarily does not require technology. The third thing as an advice that I would give to an entrepreneur is that always have people around you who believe in you. They are your strength. And it's generally people who are beyond your family. Family will always believe in you. Even if they don't believe in you, they will not demotivate you if they are very sure that this is what you want to do. It's basically the environment around you that you create. That's very important. So you should always have people who help you, support you, and prod you to go along. In my journey, at the age that I started, in spite of all my experiences, there were times when I was doubtful of what I was doing, whether it was right or not. It was because of people like these that helped me complete my journey. So you need to surround yourself by people who keep you positive. And not for the least, don't make entrepreneurship your life. Most of the entrepreneurs do that mistake. It's not your life. It does not define you who you are. Whether you succeed or whether you fail, don't fear that. Nobody is going to judge you for that. And if you start judging yourself, then the probability is that you might fail sooner or later. Start judging yourself. You will reach there. There has to be a sense of relentless need within you to be doggedly focused, that resilience that is required in you, that has to be there. And don't keep failure as an option. A lot of people say that you learn from your failures. I think fools learn from their failures. You can't keep failure as an option. And I've been very clear that 2 into might be, while there might be some amount of failure in the product or in the process, those are okay. Those are not showstoppers. Showstopper is you. In your mind, you cannot fail. And if you build yourself that way, then sooner or later you'll get success. Sooner or later, people will see the conviction in you. Sooner or later, you might get a deal. To be a unicorn is not important. To be somebody who makes a difference, that's what's important. And as an entrepreneur, you should focus on what you use to create difference or want to make money. Money is a byproduct. It comes your way sooner or later. If you make a difference, perhaps it will come more easy. And if you make difference with a commercially good idea, that will surely come. So be there with your mind and be there convinced that you can do it. And I guess that's the biggest advice I have. So you can do it. If you believe in it, don't lose that hope.
Thank you so much, Mr. Riaz. I mean, it was really great to know about a founder's journey from your story and your words, and those were actually captivating. Like, if I could right now, I would just go ahead and open a startup right now. But then again, as you said, I won't take it as a joke. But thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and I really hope that it clarifies the path and enlightens the path for a lot of those budding entrepreneurs who are either planning to or are skeptical or afraid to take that jump. I really hope that it helps and makes helps them in making a right decision for their future and for everyone's future associated.
Thank you very much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak my mind. It is always a pleasure interacting with our Inclusion Initiative institutions, and I continue to look forward to work with you guys to promote this ecosystem.
Thank you so much. Wishing you all the best for your future.
Thanks a lot.